Hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we're going to be programming. Yes, programming the Studiologic Sledge because it's easy to program. So basic, hang on. So we're gonna start with an initialized patch. I can press the panel button, and what happens if I press the panel button is the sound will reflect exactly what's going on in the panel, which is definitely the sound we don't want. So I'll just go to another initialized patch. Now I'm on patch number 398. I've spent the last few days programming progressive rock sounds, Colin. For reasons that will become clear when I email you. Anyway, here is a basic patch. I'm going to take out oscillators 2 and 3 here, and that leaves us with a pulse wave, the actual pulse width here is set at 50%. You can't really see the screen, but you can see the values that you set your controls to on the screen here. But this is set at a value of it's set at a value of 50. If I run this back to 50, about 50-ish. Turn it up a bit. You can hear it run. So at 50%, it's a square wave. So you could just basically put it on a square wave if you wanted to, but I want it on a pulse wave for this first sound. So this first sound, I'm going to try and make an accordion. Now I have programmed the accordion earlier, so this is one of mine. So yeah, let's crack on and try and do an accordion. Now obviously this is a virtual analog synth. It does have a wavetable and a few samples, but I don't want to install any samples, and I'm not using the wavetable with this sound. So there's Stephen here. Stephen Rimmer here. I'm going to try and program an accordion type sound first. Okay, so hopefully you'll get an idea of how fast this is to program. As you have 1,000 memory slots you can use. It comes with a couple of hundred presets. I've programmed over 100 in the last couple of days. It really is that fast. And not all of them have been mine, by the way. I've been watching loads of YouTube videos from the channel is called Dave Clements, but the programmer is a guy called George Hall, who's an absolute genius. I'm not kidding. He's just whiz. Anyway, the accordion sound. So what I've made a note. I've got some notes. So 3 oscillators. We'll punch in all 3 oscillators, and we'll turn them all up full for now and turn the volume down a little bit. And they're all at an 8-foot pitch. Radio. And we have a detune of 4 on this one. So and a detune of plus 14 on this one. And you're already getting that kind of accordion vibe. I've also got some I've used no LFO in this at all, none whatsoever. But I have put some noise in, and I think it was white noise at a level of 31 or thereabouts. You can't really hear it, but there it is. And we'll go over to the filter section, and we're going to use a low pass, but we're going to put it on a 12 dB instead of a 24 dB. And then now see, because this is subtractive synthesis, theoretically this should work on pretty much any subtractive synth on your iPad as well, and also like things like the Gaia or anything else. What's marvelous about the Sledge is you can see it all there, so there's no menu diving. So for showing you like how to get certain sounds, that might be really cool. So we're over to the filter, low pass filter, 12 dB per octave slope on that one, and the cutoff is going to be 72 or thereabouts. So you can kind of hear it, you know. Okay, so 72, 73. Stephen Rimmer's here. Stephen, we're making an accordion. So what we're going to do now is the resonance is going to be 0.9-ish. Again, you're not going to really hear much of that, but it does add to the, we'll do it with 0.10-ish. Don't really matter, to be fair. And not at that kind of value. And then key track will run 83, so we want it to be brighter at the top. Or 85. And then the envelope amount will be about 14. And that'll give that percussive sound. So attack on the filter envelope, the attack's going to be about in the middle, about 64-ish. And then the decay will be 73-ish. And then the sustain is set at around 88. Doesn't really matter. You can see the shape, you know what I mean? And 64 for the release on that, kind of there. See how we're starting to get that kind of sound now. So on the amplitude envelope, we don't want any velocity. I'm not going to have any velocity on that. Although I'm not sure if, I mean, they're pretty expressive, aren't they, accordions? But we'll have the attack on 26-ish, like this. Let's try and find it. So about there. So it just takes a little tiny bit of the bite off, I guess. Decay will be 64, or around that point on your amp envelope. And then sustain will be, we'll put it on, I think I said it about 86, 87, something like that. And then the release, no, hang on a sec, I've done that wrong, haven't I? What was my sustain for the thingy? Yeah. And then the sustain for this is about the same-ish, 87, 86, something like that. And then the release is also about 64. So, and now bit of reverb. I've got a bit of a tax, Stephen. Oh, yeah, might be better. Might even be able to get away with a bit more detuning. There you go, you see? How quick was that? Right? I mean, seriously, you could copy that and apply it to any analog synth, any virtual analog synth, any polysynth. So what I'm going to do now is, for anyone who does have a sledge and who's interested in this, I'm going to reset the panel. I'm not going to change the initialized patch. I already have saved. But it's a synth, Stephen. It's not, and there's no samples. So I think it's pretty good. I was really impressed myself. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset the panel, but on the panel itself. Because if I hit panel now, it's not going to sound anything like that accordion. Because all the other controls that I didn't touch are still active. But when you have an initial settings, it resets everything to a state. But it's not reflected in the positions of the knobs, obviously, because it has memories. So what I shall do is now just reset everything. So 24 dB. Completely open, closed resonance. We'll leave the key track in the middle somewhere. Take the drive off. Leave the amount 0 for the filter envelope. Again, we'll just do the usual stuff that you would have in a filter and in kind of any envelope, I guess, like this decay. We'll stick that there, but we'll take the decay up on these a little bit as well. I'll leave the effects as they are, not necessary. We'll turn the noise off, not necessary at the moment. Turn the volume down. I'll leave these three up like this. I will set them all on 50% pulse wave, because it's actually a square wave, but it's the way that it's set. So 50% for all of these is the default setting, and they're all on an 8-foot pitch to start with, and the semitones will obviously all be tuned like this, and these will all be in tune. And the thing that we'll be looking at as well, there'll be zero depth in the LFO. So, and take the reverb off. So that's the panel reflected as the panel. So we can start again. So let's do an organ type sound. I'm getting quite good with the organ type sounds now, because I've programmed absolutely tons of different types. So we'll start with the most basic. Now, bearing in mind, again, this is a synth. I'm not using, again, for this particular patch, I'm not going to use any kind of wavetable or sample or anything like that. Let's have a drink. So we're going to start with sine wave on all three. Now, listen. You bring the other two oscillators and it sounds really weird, because I'm on a sine wave. Oscillator 2 and 3. Oscillator when it's on a sine wave, the pulse width controls becomes a frequency modulation from oscillator 1. So you need to turn that to 0 to get a pure sine, and the same for that one. So first, this is just for this synth though, bearing in mind, if you just want a pure sine wave, first one I'm going to put on a 16-foot pitch. Second one I'm going to leave on 8-foot pitch. Third one I'm going to put on a 2-foot pitch. And it's already kind of an organ sound. You could actually use it as an organ sound. What we're going to... What? Pardon?
Is that crackling meant to be there?
No. Is it crackling? Oh, wait a minute. I'm overloading. That's why. Is that better? Yeah. It's all right. I was overloading. So this one, oscillator 2, or oscillator 3, doesn't really matter. But oscillator 2, I'm going to tune this to a 5th. So, like, it would be... So I want this oscillator to be doing a 5th. Yeah, my voice will have went down on a level as well, Sam, because of the thingy. Is it all very quiet now? Can you hear me? Can you actually hear me? 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 2. Hey? 1 2 1 2. I should be back now at a decent level. I'll just turn the synth down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tune oscillator 2 to this. Okay. So now when I bring in the other two, I've got the which is a better organ tone altogether. Now we could start messing with the filter and stuff, but there's not much point for this, a very basic organ sound. We could actually save that as an organ if you wanted to. But we'll put some drive in it as a drive as well. we don't want loads and loads in, so we'll play a chord. I'll just put a tiny bit in, and the default, obviously we've set the envelope, the default is already an organ, and take the velocity off. Okay, so what I shall do now is put a tiny bit of white noise in again. The chorus on this is great. The effects aren't amazing, but the chorus is good for getting a kind of rotating speaker effect kind of thing. Put a little bit of reverb. You got it. That's, and again, that's a pretty passable organ, isn't it? And by messing now at the rate, you can change it, Leslie. Okay, so another cool thing is just changing the wave to a square wave on all of the oscillators. Gives you a whole new organ as well. Without having to actually do anything else to the synth. Or we could actually put it on a sawtooth wave and cool bananas. So I know, of course, then you could like sort of play with the draw, like the idea of drawbars by fading. Like we got that really high pitched. That's, I mean, we've done 2 patches in about a few minutes, which is why this is, I just loved it, just the programmability of it. Right. Okay, so let's do another. Actually, let's just do an initialized patch, eh? So back now to, I'll just do one oscillator. Okay, so we'll have a crack at strings. Strings. Ready me notes. Got me notes. got me notes, because you've got to keep notes. If you don't keep notes, you tend to, because it's, once it's programmed, you're saving it to memory and off it goes into some other realm, you know what I mean? So strings. Okay, so for strings, instead of using a sawtooth, I've learned that I'm going to set these all on 8 foot pitch and switch them all on, turn them all up full in the mixer. I learned by watching these tutorials that the pulse width is just brilliant for strings. It's absolutely awesome for strings. So if I take, yeah, that's probably a good idea. But I mean, I don't need the trouble with that size. I do not need to reset everything, because once I hit initialize, everything is reset to an initialized state, and I'm only altering the controls that I need to get the sound, if you know what I mean. Okay, so right. Okay, here we go. So we're going to use pulse. I'm going to use a square wave on this because I want this one to be in the center, which is a value of 50. That is a square wave. So I'm going to put oscillator 2 onto square wave. On oscillator 1, I'm going to set the actual pulse width to plus about 80. And then on oscillator 3, I'm going to set the pulse width. Now, don't forget, whatever, doesn't matter about the position of that. It is at the moment at 50, realistically. But I'm going to set this down to about 20, 22, something like that. But there's still, this is a square, so 2 pulse waves set slightly differently. Okay, so I think we don't need any noise. I've made some notes. So that's basically set up. Oh, wait a sec. No, I need to detune each one of these 2 and 3 by about 11, 10 or 11. And this is basically the sound. That's the sound we're going to be starting with. Right. So we're going to go over to the LFO now. We are going to use LFOs. I did set up some LFO. I set up 2 LFOs, and from watching George's videos, I set up 2 LFOs similar to the way he did. And it just works great for any string sound. I thought it was just brilliant. So I'm going to do basically that. So on LFO1, we have 3. We have the LFO1, LFO2, and the wheel. So LFO1 is on a sine wave, and the speed of that sine wave is going to be about 36. And then on the destination will be pulse width modulation, and the depth would be a 39-ish, 40. I think I changed some of these. And then on LFO2, it was the same again. It was a sine, but the speed was, and these are free running LFOs, so the speed was, I think, 4950, and the depth was pretty much exactly the same, actually, about 39-ish. That'll do. But I need it to be also pulse width. I'll go over to the filter, and it was band pass, which surprised me as well. Band pass, 12 dB. Filter cutoff was 71. And I think there was no resonance, there was no filter amount. Key track was about 88-ish, 90. So it's brighter at the top. And then the amp envelope, velocity 0, attack was around 60 or 70-ish, like that. It was about standard in the middle, as it usually is when you set it up on a synth. And then sustain is full up, and then we want some release on the strings, obviously, to suit however you like, and then a bit of reverb, and that should theoretically be it. Now, of course, once you've got the sound, you can actually start messing with the filter and get different string sounds, which is just awesome. So there you go. Another. I mean, you can tweak till it's absolutely perfect for you, of course, just like you can with anything. All right, so let's just reset that again. Let's have a go at a brass sound. Okay, so definitely sawtooth. And what's on sawtooth? Definitely sawtooth. I'm gonna go 16 foot on those. I'll try with these two first. I'm gonna set the tune back to the middle. I'm gonna use 12 dB because I found that was a bit brighter. I'm gonna take it right down. I haven't got any notes for this, so making it up as I go along. I'm going to the amount. $23, and then get the attack on the filter to do the brassy thing. And just mess with it till you feel it's in the right place. That'll do. And then decay. Update. Try detuning this a tiny bit. Definitely some reverb. It is on a 12 dB filter. Oh, that's nice. So there's a kind of a brass patch, but then again, you can you can mess around for ages and ages and fine tune your brass patches and get all sorts of cool stuff going on. If you're applying modulation to some bits and pieces, make it a nice lead. Hang on. Let's add some modulations to the wheel. I'll push the wheel up so we can hear what I'm doing, and select wheel there. We'll use sine wave, obviously, and modulate. I mean, I'm only using 2, so I'll modulate 1 and 2. Awesome stuff. So, what are you all talking about tonight, anyway? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's do one more. I'll just reset that again. These are all similar sounds to what I've already got programmed in, so it's not really much point in me saving. I'm going to start with. Just. Not wavetables. Going to, I think as well, I think I'll just do the same on this one. I'll just do the envelope. interesting sound. Another quite. It's quite. That was quite a good one, I thought. Okay, so anyway, that's basically it. I'm gonna just play a couple of patches that I have programmed. That's unlikely. Hi, Hozza. You can layer them as well. You can layer sounds or split them. Love it. I think it's great. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you say ta-ra to each other. Thanks for joining us this evening, where we took a look at messing around with the Sledge. I'm sure we'll do more Gaia stuff as well, and of course all the apps and things. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, Stephen. Thank you. I hope some of you enjoyed it as well. I've been programming all the classic synth sounds from the prog years. Not my programming skills. Brilliant. Oh, Josh. Well, it's on if you want to watch it. Anyway, I'll see you later, ta. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.